background. I'm from a big family, a family of 7, 5 kids, we'll say 5 children, and 2 parents. I'm actually the last born. I'm a twin. I have a twin sister, and we all grew up together at young stages of life. We were a close family. We stayed in the same room, even up to we were 12, 13. We ate on the same table every day. So I think we always had this lively house. But amongst them, I think I was what some people would like to call a radical, because I always had an injury every week. I was the one that used to go out and kick my leg on the stones and, have this injury. But yes, we all had different positive sides. I was the one who used to love washing the car. My older sister loved to cook. My younger sister liked to clean. And so it was easy to have the house look, everything work together. My elder brother liked to read the paper. So early in the morning, he would go out and buy the paper before we wake up. But yes, as a family, we did good. Well, the memories that I look back today, I smile, I laugh about. But when they happened, they were bad. They were like horror movies. I mean, I got into Japan. To start with, I booked the wrong flight. So just imagine if you were going to Lagos and you booked a flight to Enugu. So that was just, so I had to luckily I had an option of taking a speed train or a plane again to the next state. But here, where I got to, nobody could speak English and I couldn't speak Japanese. That was number one. So it took me like 3 hours just to find out how to reroute myself to where I was going. And this was after I had come through a 24-hour flight. So altogether, getting to the international dormitory, it took me at least 50 hours. No sleep, no shower, less food, because I didn't even know how to change money. That's how bad I only had dollars on me, so I couldn't even change the money to yen. And so when I got to Tokyo, there's a station called Shinjuku Station. It's the busiest station in the world. You have at least 500,000 people walking past in 10 minutes. So everybody's moving, and I'm the only one standing in the middle, stranded. So there was this security who knew a little English and helped me get my way. That was just the first day, that was how bad it was. I already felt like, man, this thing is going to be impossible, man. I have to go back home. I was discouraged the first day, to be honest with you. And then things like that always happen. A lot of stuff like that I look back today and say, oh yeah, that was a funny experience. But that time, nah, I didn't like it at all. It was bad. Well, the language was, to be honest, I would say I wouldn't use the word difficult, which it is. I would say it was challenging. For the fact that I started from zero, I started from saying good morning in Japanese. The first day someone greeted me. I didn't even know what it meant. I was like, what's this guy saying to me? I didn't know what it meant. That's how bad it was. And so we had this language school course, and we had tests, we had exams every day, we had the writing to do it. And what I did was, I used the Nigerian style in the sense that I did more of the speaking, because sometimes you read and you can't still understand. I think that's one of the problems why even in Nigeria, when we study Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba in secondary school, we just read it. We don't get to do the real practical speaking. But I was in a situation where every word I learned was useful to me, because it was adding up to me becoming more comfortable. So the more I learned, the better it was for me. And so I wanted to learn more. But in reality, it was difficult. So what I did was, I had my friends. We used to have staffs in the international house, some Japanese. In night, I would stay off with them. And then one thing people never want to hear, I had a lot of girls that were willing to teach me. Japanese. They were always there. Anytime I needed to do my assignments, I didn't understand. Men are always there to follow you to drink, but the ladies are always there to help you once in a while. And so, but it was strictly professional, of course. But the ladies helped. And then during the holidays, because we have 2 months holidays after every semester, what I did was I went and I bought 3 textbooks. And then I finished those textbooks and I sent my teacher a mail that she should come and give me tests on these textbooks. This was during the holiday, and she was so happy because she could see the zeal that was coming out from here. And she came all the way to school during the holiday. We had the test. So the first semester, I started in the 11th class in the Japanese language school. And then the second semester, I was in the 4th class. So I had skipped at least 6 to 7 classes. And so I spent a year and a half in the language school just getting the language. The first year was the language speaking, the grammar, intonation. Intonation is very important in Asian language. And then the last half of a year, from the 1.5 years I spent there, was basically doing mathematics, physics, chemistry in Japanese, because when you get into the university, you have to get familiar. And those who wanted to study banking, who were from other countries, were studying economics in Japanese. And because the words are different, in every language when it comes to economic, or even in how you say calcium or how you say force, you have to study those deep things. But the good thing about engineering is formula is formula anywhere you go in the world. The name might be different, but when you write the formula, you know what they're talking about. And that was something that helped. But yes, the language barrier was there. And I think the hardest part of the language barrier was not just interacting with people, but not being able to buy or shop what you want to shop, eat what you want to eat. It's like being in a prison in another country. You know how it feels when you cannot say what you feel. Someone is telling you to do this, but this is like you want to say, this is how I feel about this, when you can't express yourself. And so I know a lot of people who quit at that stage, who came from countries like Saudi Arabia. They said, man, Ekong, I can't keep up with this. And they just quit. Not that they didn't have the finances, they just quit. So a lot of it was there. I just knew that I needed to finish. The most important thing about language was every extra semester cost me money. And so my main goal was to get into the university, but I had to get the language qualification first. And so every extra semester I spend cost me money. Actually, the language school is 1 year. But if you can't finish it all in 1 year, you have to do a year and a half. Some people spend 2, some people spend 2 years and a half. And so that 1 year, that half extra I spent was already costing me a lot. So I had to rush up my best to make sure I got the language so that I could proceed into undergraduate school. Yeah. Yes, they were. Tokyo is the most expensive city in the world. If you look at the list of the most expensive cities in the world, at least from 1 to 10, 5 of them are in Japan. It's so bad that 5 slices of bread is 110 naira, which is about 200 naira. So when I got to the supermarket, and when you go abroad, the first thing you do is everything you buy, you convert it to your local currency to see what it feels like. So I looked and said, 5 slices of bread for 200 naira. I looked at eggs, 6 eggs for 160 yen. That's about 300 naira for 6 eggs. I said, money will be a problem in this country. And so from that moment, when I started shopping and when I started seeing how expensive it was just to eat, I knew money was going to be a very big problem. And I had already had it in my mind that somewhere I was going to have to work to even pay my school fees at some stage, because my twin sister went to the US. I was supposed to go to the US, but I opted to go to Japan. So I had made a decision that this is what I wanted, and to make sure that this worked out, I had to fight as much as I could so that I wouldn't disgrace the people who told me when I was going that, I think you're making the wrong decisions. You know, to be true, to say the truth, some of them still call me to congratulate me up to today. Some of the people who told me, don't go to Japan, it's a different culture, it's expensive, people are different, not black people there, you know. They still call me to say, congratulations, we heard about your feet. And I'm like, yeah, thanks for the advice you gave me many years ago.